Salve galera, Tiozão Japa na área, mais um jogo comentado. E o título de hoje é The Last Campfire. Leia a descrição para ver o preço promocional desse jogo com 50% de desconto. Antes de mais nada, se você não é inscrito no canal, inscreva-se. Ative o sininho para receber as notificações, pois todo dia vai ter uma novidade por aqui. Aproveite e deixe seu like e compartilhe com os amigos que vai ajudarem muito na divulgação do canal. Valeu mesmo, hein? The Last Campfire, ou A Última Fogueira, tradução aproximada do título do jogo, é um jogo de exploração em um mundo aberto misturado com puzzle quebra-cabeças com visão aérea 3D sem controle de câmera. A câmera se movimenta de acordo com o movimento do personagem. Uma breve e animada cutscene de abertura é exibida ao iniciar o jogo. Pelo que dá a entender, o personagem se perde do grupo principal por perder o remo e seu barco fica sem rumo até começar a aventura. Só não entendi se é o mesmo personagem, pois no barco ele está com um manto vermelho, e quando começa a aventura ele está com um manto azul. Vou ler a sinopse para vocês. Descobre um propósito. The Last Campfire é uma aventura, a história de um mergulhão perdido e enredado num espaço misterioso, à procura de um propósito e de um caminho para casa. Segue a tua jornada. Entra mais a fundo no território para além da Floresta Negra e vence as adversidades que enfrentas. Desvenda outro mundo. Descobre a beleza de um mundo inóspito com tradições perdidas, criaturas estranhas e ruínas misteriosas. Acende a última fogueira. Encontra a esperança e leva-a contigo na tua jornada para acender a última fogueira. Criado por um pequeno estúdio, uma história única da Hello Games e dos criativos que estiveram na origem de Lost Winds. Fim da sinopse. O jogo está traduzido para português brasileiro. Para variar, mais um jogo comprado em promoção com 50% de desconto a R$ 39,95, válido até dia 19 de junho de 2021 na loja da PSN. Para quem gosta de jogos de exploração com puzzle quebra-cabeças, é diversão na certa. O jogo foi distribuído pela Hello Games Limited, para um jogador offline, lançado em agosto de 2020 e está classificado como aventura. Tiozão já agradece sua visita aqui no canal, até o próximo vídeo galera.
There is a place where the lost embers go. As their light begins to fade, Ember ran because standing still made them feel helpless. The wall glistened. Ember felt so afraid and alone that it was a relief to find someone to talk to. Ember froze, almost too frightened to look when they noticed a small satchel. satchel felt heavy. Ember looked inside. The statue shone brightly in the light. Ember noticed something wrong. There was a round space where something used to fit. To Ember's delight, the golden statue slid perfectly into place. Ember left, feeling sorry for the stranger now alone in the dark. The stairway opened into a dark forest. Ember could feel fear taking over. They'd washed up alone, somewhere very unfamiliar. Ember felt like they were. As Ember approached, the flames seemed to call out. With a feeling like falling, the forest had slipped away. Ember felt lost in darkness and ruin. The caged flame stoked new hope in Ember. hope was almost within reach. The flame spoke and Ember listened. The flame lingered ahead. Was it trying to escape? Or leading the way? The campfire flickered into life. The ghost spoke. Hope has returned to a forlorn. I will warm them until they choose to move on. Ember looked to the ghost for answers. This is a place between places to travel through as your light fades. But none have passed on in a long time. The Forest King now holds us here, and those who linger will turn forlorn. Again that word, forlorn. I am just a guide along the way to fan the flame. So many lost embers have I seen, more than I could help. The forlorn are those who lost their way along the path. If you find them, send them to me and I will guide them. Ember thought of those they loved, those they'd left behind. The Forest King watches the doors. The campfire will light the way. Find those who are lost. Bring embers to the fire. There are others lost along their journey. Find them and I will guide them. Step backwards, little Ember. Look behind. Upon a small grassy cliff rests a forlorn. The old gate was locked. The crow held its shining trophy tight. The old gate was locked. The worm looked helpless, with no way to escape. As Ember picked it up, the worm let out a little yelp. Inside was a scrap of journal. The strangers on the water went on without me. Where have I landed? Vines and thorns stretch out to trip me. The stranger whispered. Ever feel like you are being watched? I've never felt that. What does it feel like? Is it nice? It sounds nice. The Wanderer's Diary. Unfamiliar trees, a path overgrown. Is this a resting place? A place between places? I call out, but mine is the only voice. The ember was curious. I'm headed for the crossroads. I've heard there's a nest there, a safe place. The fisherman murmured quietly between sorrowful breaths. The fisherman felt so useless. His former joys were every day by the pond a constant reminder. For a brief moment, the fisherman struggled to speak. He looked at Ember, hopeful. The fisherman spoke softly. There's a frog in that pond, a big one. Saw him grow from a tadpole. We were friends of a sort, spent every day side by side. So much better at fishing than me, that frog is. Catches them before I can bait them. Oh, it makes me feel useless some days. The fisherman sighed. I've wasted so much time feeling like this. The old man looked carefully at the pond, at their rod, at Ember. Well, listen to me here rambling on and on. It helps though, telling someone. Thank you, Ember. If you need help catching anything, you just ask. The frog stared at Ember, its belly rumbling. This was not how Ember had imagined the end. The gurgling of water, a deafening heartbeat. But then the frog returned Ember's good deed by leading them to a lost forlorn. The stranger stood alone. Their friends have fallen aside, retreating from what came next. The stranger had ventured on. Now they were deep in the woods. It felt so pointless. The stranger spoke hesitantly. "Is the campfire crowded? Let me gather myself. I'll see you there." Ember found the wanderer's diary. The oily smell of frogs. They know more than they will say. They watch me watching them.